If you ever wondered, what is the life cycle of a CPG product from idea to store to shelf to customer's hand? Well, today we're going to break it down and we're going to give you all the different steps. So if you've ever been wondering how your favorite snack, skincare product, or energy drink made its way into your hands that you're deliciously drinking, every consumer packaged good, which would be CPG product, goes through a journey from simple idea to a fully stocked product on the store shelves or online to your house. So today I'm going to break it down, and since we always do education, we're going to break it down into 6 different key stages of a CPG's product life cycle and what it takes to get from concept all the way to customer. Come with me like usual. Let's get into it. And like I always do, since we're teaching, we'll do by steps. So step 1, idea market research. Like we just explained before, every product has an idea. Every product has market research. Every product has sessions and sessions of product sketches, and every product starts with an idea. But before jumping into production, spending money, a brand needs to validate their idea. And I say this over and over again so you constantly hear it. You got to validate something people actually want. You can't just also make something and want people to want it. You got to have it validated. And that's where market research comes in. Companies analyze consumer trends, consumer data. They check out competition. I always use the example, Olipop hit the scene and now Coke and them are creating things just like those. So they also use focus groups, and they also just, imagine what they want to see. You have to think about, this is all things that are in the marketing. All in the market, kind of like with protein bars. Protein bars back in the day were hot. No one was on it. Then it became a trend, and then everything else, and then all of a sudden other big companies started jumping on it and wanted to create it as well. And that goes for as well when it comes to flavors. Flavors are tested, ingredients are tested, and none of this stuff can be done without solid research. You can end up with a product nobody wants, and you and I both know we've seen a lot of products not get bought and then all of a sudden just stop being on the shelf. Number 2 will have to be product development. So formulation comes with all the big kitchen, packaging, the scientists. Once the idea is validated, it's time to create the actual product. Depending on where you go, or depending on where you get your product from, a lot of people do a lot of research and development. Research and development, R&D, consists of food scientists, chemists, who take the formula, create it, and then they make it not only for one, but make it in a large span so that they have their recipe, the ingredients, and the formula. They're able to make it on a large tape, but also making sure that they don't company lots of money. So it could take years, months, before a brand can even release something due to taste, texture, performance, how will it be, shelf stability, that's 4 things. And on top of that, is it safe and is it compliant? You and I both know that a lot of brands don't use always the best ingredients, so that's why you have to make sure you read, because sometimes brands will put stuff in there just to save cost, but at the same time it can be bad for you. You also got to remember, brands also develop a lot of money into branding, packaging, choosing what colors, designing labels, and all those things to attract you. Fun fact, did you know red and yellow are often used in food packaging? Really think about it. McDonald's, because they trigger hungry. McDonald's, Poppy, Coke, they use a lot of red and yellow. So number 3 would be manufacturing and production. So number 3 is manufacturing and production. So this deals with, machines, filling bottles, checks, making sure everything is done correctly. So now that you have the product finalized, it's time for mass production. And most CPG brands don't make their products themselves. I don't know if you know that. They partner with a contract manufacturer, or they call it a third-party contractor, or co-packers. They usually make the product and then boom, they send it out. This stage is all about scale and efficiency. And it's also about ensuring that the product is produced in a timely manner. It's also produced at a volume. And then one of the main points is maintained at the highest quality, because those type of machines are always getting checked and you don't want to recall. Plus, you got to have your packaging and your label correctly. And being able to find a third-party manufacturer helps with that. Plus, you got minimal order quantities. They can be high. So a startup might need to produce 10,000 units just to get started, which, I don't know if everybody knows, but that's a lot of upfront costs that can be steep. So that's why a lot of times they use co-packers, third-party people, to build those type of things, to package it. So number 4, distribution, getting in the stores. I want you to visualize trucks, warehouses, products, things being stocked, merchandisers, all kind of things on the shelf. Now that the product is made, how does it actually get into the stores? How does it actually get into the stores where it comes to me, where I'm able to go and buy it anytime I want? Well, distribution comes in. Brands got to decide, or small CPG brands or big brands, they decide they're going to sell directly to consumer, like we discussed before, which would be D2C, and that'll be through their own website, or do they go into retail, like stores like Whole Foods, Costco, and other places like that? Or do they just sell on Amazon? A lot of businesses start off just selling on Amazon, still on their website, and not got into retail. Because getting into retail stores is tough, and brands got to do a lot of pitching, especially if you're a small brand. Then on top of that, you got to do negotiation, pricing, upfront money, and sometimes even pay slotting fees, which is another question that another thing we'll have to get into, which are expensive. Shelf placement fees are expensive. Not to mention, you also sometimes pay product to come back to you. But when you do for e-commerce, the only thing you have to focus on is marketing, fulfillment, and shipping logistics. When you do e-commerce, just marketing, fulfillment, logistics, the only thing you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about sliding fees. So number 5, marketing and ads, social media. You got your product, so what's next? You got to use social media promotions, using influencers. Product is going to sell itself unless you've already created a product that people want or created a fan base that people already want. So this involves doing demos, it involves digital marketing, it involves getting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You always see a lot of ads or influencers posting things, and it's because a lot of times they're either paid or they're sending them free product. And in return, they're creating UGC content, which would be user-generated content that a lot of people see, that a lot of people use, that many brands use those images, use those content so that they can push out to other consumers and other people who haven't tried the product so they can see somebody using it and they want to buy it. So think about it. When it comes to demos are a commonly used things that everybody uses. Why do you think Costco does it all the time? Because it gets you hooked to try and then buy. Number 6, customer feedback and growth. Customer feedback is always needed because what customer feedback is surveys, reviews, people trying new customer products. And once a customer starts buying the brand and you start tracking sales and you track feedback, you're able to see what's working when it comes to new product being releases, flavoring, packaging, and then you're able to see what kind of online reviews and social media comments you're getting so that you can make sure that you're headed in the right direction and not in a bad direction. Sales performance, which stores helps you in the long run, is a big thing. Customer feedback is always needed. It's always built on what do the customer like, what don't they like, and all those things. And like I said, being able to know what they like when they go to the store, you're able to use that customer data so that when you go pitching to retail buyers, you know exactly what they want to see. You know exactly how to show them that your product is something people want. And then from there, if you need to do spin-offs to other products, you know exactly what people like and what people don't like from taking the customer feedback, by taking the customer suggestions and listening to your customers, because your customers are always going to show you or always lead you in the right direction. They'll tell you, hey, this flavor is not it. Do not put this flavor out no more. And they'll be like, this flavor is great. You should do more of this line. And then from there, you're able to create other products that they'll like so they'll also be able to buy. When it comes to doing all these things, you got to make sure that you factor in each bullet that I say, because this CPG game is one that involves a lot of thinking, one that involves a lot of planning, one that involves a lot of money. And if you don't have your stuff strategized out, if you're not thinking smart, if you're not planning out where you want to be or having an idea where you see your company, then you'll constantly just be chasing anything that looks like a great deal. And you don't want to be in that situation, because chasing anything that's a great deal might not always be a great deal for you and your company and how your growth and how your scaling is. What does that mean? What does it mean? Well, it means this. In the end, you got to find out what's best for you. You got to find out what's best for your company and your growth and being able to scale so that you don't get out here and start spending money on stuff you don't need too early, to spend on stuff that you don't need right now. And when I say too early, I mean you don't need sometimes to be in all these stores if you're still trying to validate. And what you don't need right now could be, you might not need to be using big old manufacturer, co-packer. If you could pack the stuff yourself, you could save that money on that. So it's all about knowing yourself, writing down your budget, staying in your budget for marketing, for other things, and then also, writing down and projecting and understanding how your scale is going to look, how much money you need to be able to scale, who you need to work with when it comes to co-packing or having a 3PL, those type of things. And then also your formula. If this is a formula you're able to create, that's great. Can you create it so much until you're able to get the big money to get a full-time scientist or lab person or anything like that. So this is just all the different ways on how CPG matters. Information I just gave you is if you're a CPG business starting up. But if you're already just working in the CPG, you can tell by all the different bulletins I gave you that there's numerous jobs in CPG that you can easily jump into, whether it be distribution, working for DSD, or being a scientist, working customer service, working in sales, because those products are not going to sell themselves, working in marketing, field marketing, shopping marketing, all these type of things. There's different avenues, different jobs for you who have the experience, or you just want to learn and you want to take an entry-level position to get into the industry. So yes, this has been another episode of CPG 101 with Eric. Don't forget, if you like, leave your comments below. Leave me what you think. And also, you got a like and subscribe below. And please share this video with another friend that's interested in CPG, working or starting a business. Because like I said, we're all about creating dialogue, sharing experiences, and just educating ourselves so that we can be better in this industry as we get better and better. So yeah, thanks again.